Oh. Um, okay, let's go to Howl. Check out what. And now Balloon Heights. Whatever. Let's see if it's a no man. Boom. Pum, 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 pum. 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 Pum, 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 pum. Yay. Nina into your lap. Let's start with demo. Okay, it does look like.
Yeah. Are you ready for this? Huh? Don't worry, one swing will do.
Yeah, I don't get it. It will trigger surgical cold and unlock. But if I am hit, okay, if I'm if I don't parry,
Here we go. You asked for it.
La- Iron charges X or X special attack.
Are you ready for this? Now, little cuties, crush them!
Okay, she's cool. That's cool.
It seems the story's not over yet. Yeah. Sleep well.
Let me see what you're made of!
A little reward. Let's see you handle this. Let's clear them out again. Why struggle? Welcome to my dream. Don't worry, one swing will do. Yep. Here we go.
Breaking through!
The ending's already ready. That's as far as you go. And sweet, the next page is the ending!
Okay, it is a bit clunky, but you know, seems nice.
Ready. Hey! Cha! Huh! Cha! Tiger tornado! Roger that.
Give them a taste of Yun Kuei Summit's technique! Last breath.
It's over!
Shun. Your behavior won't be tolerated.
I won't get to see this time! Tiger has arrived!
Ready. Open fire!
Time for an breaking through.
Just one strike! Warning!
Rain
Here
incoming!
we go. Mhm. And I can get 9 more. So I'm currently at 120. Okay.
Knew you'd need my help.
Okay, let's count it up. It was 88. It now is 82. So it is okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's continue. Nikamata in the first 32. Let's continue. Okay. Sure. Go to recycle.
Shining golden signs. Let your inner sparking night. Fat treasure, glowing bright. Reach your way and take a flight. Lucky enough, at least you try. Shame in yourself to find. No doubt, things on your side. You're choosing, so enjoy the ride. There are things you can't control.
Idhari. Call my name when you need me.
Whether it's catching ducks or finding cash, I'm here to help.
Okay. Oh.
Come to the seaside with me, Lord Phaethon. Do you like how it looks?
And now, the most important thing of all. Checking how a Vivian works. Let's go for those people.
Oh my. Together, Lord Phaethon. There you are. Yep.
There's no time to lose.
Scatter! How irksome. Ride the sea breeze.
What? Come on.
Here to assist.
All for Lord Phaethon. Even the waves can't get close. To the depths.
I see it.
Don't underestimate me.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. I don't know, those engines are like nowhere. I don't I don't know what they're like. Should be waste, not waste, but you know, where they are supposed to be located, related to her body.
How about a little late night adventure? I promise you'll love it. A summer day with Lord Phaethon.
Yeah, this cringe.
Come to the seaside with me, Lord Phaethon. A summer day with Lord Phaethon. Good day, Lord Phaethon.
I'm uncomfortable.
No matter where we go, meeting
Oh,
you
God.
is the real reward.
First and foremost, I guess. Yeah. Plus 15% crit rate. Well, obviously, I guess 30% crit rate, maybe. At some point.
My dream seems to have become a reality.
Okay. Details. And this one. Crit rate? Not sure about crit rate. Maybe crit damages matter.
My dream seems to have become a reality.
Yeah, I recommend it. Well, ban. Double crit up. Sure. Sure for now. Or this one. Maybe this one is the best one. We'll see. Nope. HP percent, please. Ooh. Here we go. HP percent, please. No. Crit damage, please. No. Ooh. There we go. Okay, main stat percent HP. Oof. I mean, that's hooked up, but that's something that I have currently already. Stat. Ice damage pass. Ooh, that's nice, I guess. Give me crit damage, please. No. Yo. Give me crit damage. No. Well. Crit damage. Here we go. This is. Actually, it doesn't. It has less potential. But it is a backup. Also, I want a crit damage main stat. Crit rate, please? No. Unfortunately, no. Let's go to 12 first. Hmm. Or maybe even less. What took her damage? One stage, okay. Damage, 2%. Okay. Crit damage twice. Yay. Shadow down. Hmm. Crit rate. Crit rate. Crit rate. Crit damage. Huh? Crit damage. Level 3. HP%. What HP? Well, not as good. Not as good. Okay, maybe. Sheesh. Crit damage. Oh. Create rate. Okay. Let's switch to this one and go for level 9 first. Mm-hmm. Come on, more crit damage. Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna
This weather's perfect for a little
My
How about a little late night adventure? I promise you'll love it. This weather's perfect for a little exploring.
let's go with
Today's
this.
reading is
Do you want me to fight? Or cook?
Okay, squad 11, I'm not gonna rename it, I'm gonna recommended level 50, yes, sure.
Last breath!
Fall back, Hari! It's showtime!
a little reward. The ending's already written. Yeah.
Come on.
I'm ready!
That's as far as you go. Into the frozen abyss.
Oh.
Your behavior won't be tolerated! Shun!
Thanatos Surge! Slumber in
As
the
foreshadowed. You asked for it. Rest in peace. Why struggle? Noise, be gone.
Really good. I mean, yeah, it is clunky. But then, also, she does make a lot of good points. Like, you know, after a bit of anticipation, it deals a lot of damage. Oh, come on. We don't have enough. Let's complete for a moment. Go drink some coffee. And do this once more.
Please, enlighten me! Breaking through!
Oh, that's pretty cool, huh?
A little reward. Huh? Huh? Huh?
Last breath!
Like a shadow! Slumber
As
in the
foreshadowed. Huh? Huh? Why struggle? Rest in peace. You asked for it. Into the frozen abyss.
Give them a taste of Yunque Summit's technician! Huh?
You were so close. Yep. That's as far as you go. Echoes and noise, be gone. Why struggle? Rest in peace. You will rest amidst the ice. Woo!
Okay, so let's welcome my new favorite character in terms of gameplay. Welcome to the team. Lol. My bro tells me that questions how Ganyu stopped being the, you know, go-to nuker with her Glorious charged attacks, which, by the way, I am reminded by Ithari's gameplay. Unfortunately, the dragon you are talking about, my dear friend, hasn't been relevant in a while.
How about a little late night adventure? I promise you'll love it.
No matter where we go, meeting you is the real reward.
I appreciate you.
My dream seems to have become a reality.
This weather's perfect for a little exploring.
Oh. Yeah.
Did you call me? Yeah.
Nekomata's name card. Mm-hmm. That's fine. Oh. I guess I can just do that without any problems. Mm-hmm. Hey, come at the level 60. Oh. Sheesh. Hmm.
Did you call me? Meow.
Did you call me? Yeah.
My dream seems to have become a reality.
What if a filter for other sets, such as like that? Mhm. Oh, it's the different one. Would you look at that? Ooh. Nice damage bonus. But HP attack percent. But HP, huh? Okay, let's go to the 9. Come on, double crit. I'm not sure. But if in the next
No matter where we go, meeting you is the
level
real reward.
I get the thing that I want, then I can potentially trade to the max level.
The afternoon sun is exceptionally pleasant, like the rich oral aroma of a tune in D minor.
Not necessarily.
These fragrant melodies will keep me company while I wait for your next
No
visit.
crit rate. No crit rate.
I'll be waiting for your next visit.
How about a little late?
My dream seems to have become a reality.
Come on. Crit damage. Mm-hmm. Crit damage more. No. Hmm. It can be better. Conquer damage, crit rate, okay. I'm switching. I'm not looking back. Because fuck that. Crit rate? No. Crit rate? Would you look at that? Yeah. Okay. I'm already better off. More crit damage. More crit damage. Are you ready for this? Turu turu tu turu 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 tu turu 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 tu. Oh, she already has lots of damage increase. Crit damage increases by 30% when it has HP falls below 50%. Stun or support. Yeah, okay, so special attack level is indeed ice damage is sheer damage. 60 adrenaline. Anata. Alright, I'll talk to you later. Let's see.
Strawberry, this one's mine. Pretty cool, huh?
A little reward.
Time for an effort. Breaking through.
Careful. This attack is gonna be tricky. You asked for it. Rest in peace.
Attack streak, waiting for enemy to fucking attack. All this time. 70, currently 80. Let's do it again. I'll fucking do it again.
Last breath.
As foreshadowed.
It's showtime!
Yep. That's as far as you go. Noise, be gone.
Percent. 3% there.
This weather's perfect for a little exploring.
No matter where we go, meeting you is the real reward.
Yay! Uh, 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 uh. What does her weapon do?
No matter where we go, meeting you is the real reward.
HP percent means that. Ice shear damage increases. crit rate increases by 20%. Kind of a side grade. Like, what does Monetized Engine give?
You know, the sun shining so brightly today makes it the perfect condition for shopping.
Yay! Yay, yay, yay. 24. Getting to this amount is quite challenge though. Getting her to 100% crit rate is the goal. But if it is the goal, she doesn't really want ice damage because she already has
Catch you again soon.
a
We
lot
get
of
new
damage
stock in
percent.
all the time. This weather's perfect.
My dream seems to have become a reality.
Hmm. Let's go for level 9. Come on. Double crit rate. Okay, well, that's not bad. Nice damage bonus. Not bad. More ice damage bonus. It's currently +2, it can be better. +3. Come on, more crit rate. Appreciate it. And before I go too deep into this rabbit hole, Okay, she doesn't have any crit rate bonus, so I guess oh, yeah, I guess we also should look at this. Chain attack or ultimate crit rate increases by 4%, stacking up to 3 times and lasting 15 seconds. X special attack, chain attack, or ultimate. Share damage increases by... Okay, so... 12 plus 15, 20... 27. So what I want is at be at around 70, not more. It's not more than 70. But if it goes to 24%, so 24 plus 12 is 36. Then around this much is the correct amount. Crit damage, please. Вот так. Crit rate and crit damage. Oh, that's fine.
My dream seems to have become a reality. One, two, three, four. 3. 5. 3. 4, 5. 5. And here it's also 5. Except a bit more attack and a bit more flat damage there, and it's more crit here than here, right? So, you know, as they say, it's inconclusive. 8, 16. More crit rate.
Is crit rate better than ice damage bonus? No clue. No clue.
No matter where we go, meeting you is the real reward.
Let's see crit rate, crit damage. Calculations here. $67.4. 142.8.
My dream seems to have become a reality.
Attack, crit rate. Yeah. So 3 times crit rate of 4.8. 4.8 times 3 is 0.4 and so 14.4. 14.4. 0.4 makes it 59 and 14. 60, 70 something. 73. 73 crit rate. $73 plus 15. 88 plus 12 is 100%. I'm technically not overcapping with my current weapon. Mm. Mm. Oh, only 30%. Only 30%. 30%. Fuck. Well, also 20% from Lucia. Damage dealt. no, 60%. %60 crit damage. And 72.2. And also 15%. Oh, 30%. Oh, so
No matter where we go, meeting you is the real reward.
I mean, the pose she keeps is really weird. Like, aren't those breasts heavy, my lady? Well, on the other hand, tails. Tails are heavy too. That's not. Mr. Click. Mr. Mabro. There's a problem. Oh, province. Mm-hmm. Yay. No clue what that is.
I gotta find time to sort the new stock, or this place is gonna be a mess again.
Yeah, that's enough. Eh. Eat Harry, I'm very glad you're fun to play. Okay. Time to switch things up. It's late enough as it is. Let's listen to something in the background, I guess. Great. 4 days. Today 6 hours. Oof. No, it's fine.
Today's recommendation is the steak.
Some pests don't worry me much.
There's a strange wanderer in your wolfendom.
Why does Ashru sit up on the counter? To welcome our clients, of course. A kitty's gotta earn his kibble somehow.
Because despite everything, they're like reasonably alright.
It's been getting quite busy recently.
Haven't you heard? There's a strange wanderer in your wolfendom.
Like they vanish once you
Nation of Liyue has the most prosperous commercial port in all of Tibet.
stop doing anything that attracts them. And pretty fast.
Today's recommendation is the steak.
Haven't you heard? There's a strange wanderer in your wolfendom.
And that immediate
Welcome. How can I help you?
validation.
Emotions are like a raging torrent that surges through the mind. More often than not, if you
It's
try
really
to hold them
nice.
back, you'll be swept away by their unstoppable force.
Heard?
And if you try to ignore them entirely, you'll end up tearing yourself to pieces.
Welcome. How can I help you?
Makes those guys tolerable.
Today's recommendation is the steak. The neighboring nation of Liyue has the most prosperous
Haven't you heard?
Don't trust your eyes uncritically. People only see what they want to. So don't be your own fool.
Today's recommendation is the steak.
Ah,
Come take a look. There will definitely be something that catches your eye. Welcome. How can I help you?
Ancient alchemy truly is fascinating.
Today's recommendation is the steak.
Haven't you heard? There's a strange wanderer near Wolfendom.
The neighboring nation of Liyue has the most prosperous commercial port in all of Tibet.
Ancient alchemy truly is fascinating.
Today's recommendation is the steak.
Come take a look.
a video with a theme that sounds really nice. Will humanity ever reach one on Kardashev scale.
Prosperous commercial port in all of Tibet.
Ancient alchemy truly is fascinating.
Where the fuck is it?
Quite busy recently.
Haven't you heard?
As epic is
There's a strange wanderer in
both
your
better and worse than we think. Bisexual. Gamer girl fascism, read those books.
Today's recommendation is the steak.
Come take a look. There will definitely be something that catches your eye.
It's been getting quite busy recently.
Welcome. How can I help you?
Why does Ashru sit up on the counter? To welcome our clients, of course. A kitty's gotta earn his kibble somehow.
Haven't you heard? There's a strange wanderer near Wolfendom.
A lot of people ask me, how do you talk to women? How do you get a girlfriend? And first of all, how dare you imply you need women other than me in your life? But even worse than that, I'm literally a girl failure. I struggle to talk to women. You want to know how to get within 5 feet of a cute girl and not stutter, shake like a chihuahua, and yourself on the spot? Me too, man. If you find out, let me know. Oh, but Lucy, you're literally a woman. You have to know something. I go out of my way to not think about myself because the more self-aware I become, the louder the voices get. Please ask someone else. Better yet, lower your standards for me and become part of my parasocial obsession with Twitch chat. It's a lot easier. A lot of people ask me,
Has the most prosperous commercial port in all of Tibet.
Ancient alchemy truly is fascinating.
Haven't you heard? There's a strange wanderer near Wolfendom.
today's recommendation is the steak.
Don't trust your eyes uncritically. People only see what they want to. So don't be your own fool.
Ancient alchemy truly is fascinating.
Welcome. How can I help you? Come take a look. There will definitely be something that catches your eye.
Ancient alchemy truly is fascinating.
Okay, I have opened a lot of tabs.
The neighboring nation of Liyue has the most prosperous commercial port in all of Tibet. Come take a look.
Useless
There will
mostly.
definitely be something that catches your eye.
Quite busy recently.
Where's the, the one about Kardashev scale?
Truly is fascinating.
Emotions are like a raging torrent that surges through the mind. More often than not, if you try to hold them back, you'll be swept away by their
I
unstoppable
panicked
force.
about what
And if you
happened to
try to
Bernie
ignore
Sanders.
them
Apparently, he
entirely,
did have a
You'll
heart
end up
attack.
tearing yourself to
Wow.
pieces.
So he is out of politics. That's pretty sad. He did survive.
The neighboring nation of Liyue has the most prosperous commercial port in all of Tibet. Haven't you heard? There's a strange wanderer near Wolfendom.
Don't trust your eyes uncritically. People only see what they want to. So don't be your own fool.
The neighboring nation of Liyue has the most prosperous commercial port in all of Tibet.
Don't worry, he's fine. Guess it's just fun to do the whole you may kill the man, but not the idea while he's still alive.
The neighboring nation of Liyue has the most
Emotions are like a raging torrent that surges through the mind. More often than not, if you try to hold them back, you'll be swept away by their unstoppable force. And if you try to ignore them entirely, you'll end up tearing yourself to pieces.
Welcome. How can I help you? Today's recommendation is the steak.
Genius of the Lover Heist.
Haven't you heard? There's a strange wanderer near Wolfen.
Okay, I'm going back here and just using search.
Welcome. How can I help you? Come take a look. There will definitely be something that catches your eye.
Truly is fascinating.
Could be. Yes, one day ago. Becoming Type 1 PBS space-time and 11 months ago. Interesting.
It's been getting quite busy recently.
Cool stuff, cool stuff. Sideshow.
I'll post the commission at the Adventurers Guild.
That is a video by Sideshow.
Haven't you heard? There's a strange wanderer.
If you've heard of the Kardashev scale before, it's probably because you're a fan of science fiction. If you haven't heard of it, it is a way of classifying civilizations, especially those of an extraterrestrial nature, based on how much energy they consume. So it might sound like it came straight out of a Hollywood blockbuster, but the Kardashev scale actually has some very serious scientific thought behind it. It's also more than just a guide in humanity's continuing search for extraterrestrial intelligence. This scale can help us predict the next steps in our own advancement and even anticipate some of their side effects. It can even prompt us to ask some big questions, like what do we value and what do we want to work towards long-term as a species? So let's take a journey through the scale that goes from a few blue whales at one end to our potential intergalactic overlords at the other. We've had radio telescopes focused on the sky for more than 65 years now, and while most scientists think that we haven't spotted any alien civilizations in that time, or any alien individuals for that matter, it's still important to know what to look for. That's what Nikolai Kardashev was thinking about in 1964 when he created the scale that would eventually bear his name, or at least an anglicized version of his name. Kardashev figured that the more energy a civilization consumes, the easier it would be to detect its radio signals from our neck of the woods. So he defined a Type 1 civilization, that's a Roman numeral 1, as using close to what humanity was using at the time, around 40 quintillion ergs per second. If you don't know what an erg is, I don't blame you for that, so let's convert that to something more familiar, 4 terawatts. We were only using 4 terawatts per second back then? Oh my god, that's adorable. Meanwhile, a Type 2 civilization would harness all the energy of its own star, which would be 100 trillion times more than a Type 1. And a Type 3 would harness all of the energy of its own galaxy, 100 billion times more than Type 2. Sounds simple enough, and perhaps a little too simple, because in the decades since, countless scientists have iterated, edited, and expanded upon Kardashev's original idea. Probably the most famous of these was Carl Sagan. In 1973, he swapped the Roman numerals for Arabic, and then created an equation that would let you calculate decimal values if your alien civilization fell somewhere in the middle, which it seems like it might. To craft that equation, he started by defining the energy that you'd plug in to get a final value of 1. 10 petawatts, also known as 10 to the 16 watts. While that number is somewhat arbitrary, it started a pattern where each step of the scale adds another 10 zeros to the number of total watts. In other words, a Type 2 civilization consumes 10 to the power of 26 watts, which is roughly the output of the sun, and a Type 3 is 10 to the power of 36 watts, which isn't too far off from the estimated energy output of the Milky Way galaxy. When Sagan devised this scale, if you added up all of the energy humans humans generated, we'd be sitting not at a type 1, but a whopping type 0.7. And if we can score a value less than 1, that means we can find out what a type 0 civilization would be. If you extend the scale down to 10 to the power of 6 watts, you reach the level of biological power. In fact, based on their active metabolic rate alone, a pod of just 3 blue whales would qualify as a type 0 civilization, which I love. That's great. Unfortunately, they're such solitary creatures that they normally don't team up for long periods of time. Scientists have also extended the Kardashev scale in the other direction, introducing a type 4 civilization consuming 10 to the power of 46 watts. That's about 2 orders of magnitude off the energy of the entire observable universe. Some have even discussed the idea of a Type 5 civilization, which would have to harness the power of multiple universes. And if they can do it, I wish them well. But before we get too carried away, we should take a moment to state the obvious. This classification system is coming from the perspective of just one civilization that hasn't even made it to Type 1 yet. As of 2020, humanity is sitting somewhere around 0.7276 on the Kardashev scale, but it's hard to calculate all of the energy consumed by our civilization, so that's just one estimate floating around in the literature. The study that calculated that number also forecasts that we will reach 0.7449 by 2060. Meanwhile, other papers attempt to predict when we'll finally hit Type 1, providing guesses between 2333 and 2404. All of these guesses depend a lot on what the future holds for us. For example, if we figure out how to generate power through nuclear fusion, we could bump ourselves up to 0.7719 by the end of the 21st century. Now, boiling everything down to a single score like this makes it easy to get caught up in reaching the next milestone, but our long-term advancement on the scale also depends on our ability to deal with the side effects of generating more and more power. Right now, we are in the middle of a climate crisis because of our insatiable hunger for energy. Any new technology will come with new side effects, and our success as a civilization will depend on our ability to anticipate and solve them. So we definitely shouldn't do whatever it takes to make number go up as fast as possible, but we can still think about what we might need to do to make that happen. Most visions for reaching Type 2 involve building a megastructure of sorts around our sun to capture its radiation. The most famous of these is probably a Dyson sphere, which, as the name implies, requires surrounding our star with one giant light-absorbing machine, although it could technically involve a swarm of separate spacecraft all working in tandem. This sphere doesn't have to be solid, despite many sci-fi depictions as such, including our script editor's personal favorite, that one that caused Captain Montgomery Scott to get stuck in a transporter pattern buffer for 75 years. I also enjoyed that one. But building such a device is easier said than done. To acquire enough material, you would need off-world mining, be it the moon or asteroids, even the entire planet Mercury.
But paper. And I love it.
If we do manage to build some kind of Dyson swarm, we'd still need to beam all of that power back to Earth or wherever we were living at that time. Lucky for us, engineers are already kind of working on this. In 2023, a team from Caltech completed the first power transfer from a satellite down to Earth's surface, transmitting it in the form of microwaves. So it might take thousands of years for humanity to reach Type 2, and Type 3 is likely hundreds of thousands of years beyond that. To harness the power of the galaxy, you would need just tons of Dyson spheres around tons of stars, or a similar structure around the supermassive black hole at the center of the galaxy. A black hole emits energy in a bunch of ways. The most likely source we would capture is heat from friction, created by all of the debris swirling around the black hole in its massive accretion disk. But before we get to what an advanced civilization could do with all of that energy, why would they even want it? We're gonna do a quick ad.
Engaged.
Thank you for watching SciShow. We think these videos and all the great information in them should always be available for anyone who wants to watch them. And you can help keep that possible by participating in the second annual Complexly Learnathon. On November 3rd, we kicked off a celebration of learning and the free content we make here at SciShow, Crash Course, and all of Complexly. And it's live now. We had so much fun last year.
All right, so what do you do with all of the energy from a Type 2 civilization? From our lower than Type 1 perspective, pretty much, anything they want to do? Maybe they'd run some super advanced form of AI using a Matryoshka brain, a hypothetical computer made up of nested Dyson spheres with a star in the center. And if you're thinking, did he mean to say Matryoshka? We had a long discussion about this. Or maybe they want to build a Shkada. Do you mean to say Matryoshka? We had a long nested Dyson spheres with a star in the center. And if you're thinking, did he mean to say Matryoshka? We had a long discussion about this. Or maybe they want to build a Shkadov thruster, a partial Dyson sphere that harnesses solar radiation to steer a whole solar system through the galaxy. A civilization could use such a device, which is once again entirely hypothetical, to avoid dangers like a galactic collision or a nearby supernova. Maybe this advanced civilization wants to probe the most fundamental bits of reality itself. Some of modern physics' greatest mysteries exist at the Planck length, which is 100 million trillion times smaller than a proton. Our equations simply break down when we try to look at stuff that small. Theoretically, you could study this scale with a particle accelerator, but it would have to be a lot bigger than humanity's Large Hadron Collider. And by a lot, I mean that it would need to be the size of an entire galaxy, which a Type 3 point something civilization could actually do. If aliens ever construct such a device, human scientists could detect some of the super duper high energy particles it was emitting into the greater cosmos if they just so happened to hit the Earth on their journey. And not just humans that finally managed to reach Type 1, humans now. As of the recording of this video, though, we have not detected any Type 3 civilizations, but that's not because no one's been looking. Based on a lack of evidence, 2 studies published back in 2014 and 2015 concluded that Type 3 civilizations must be rare in the local universe, if not non-existent. And despite several weird light signatures found in the sky over the years, which some people proposed could turn out to be megastructures, we don't have any solid evidence of a Type 2 civilization out there either. And technically, because Kardashev's original scale got redefined, we don't even have evidence of a Type 1 civilization yet, which sounds like a massive disappointment. But a lack of evidence isn't entirely useless. One thing it highlights is the so-called Fermi paradox. If there's a high probability other intelligent life exists in the universe, why can't we find them? Maybe there's some sort of great filter that civilizations rarely get past, because as a civilization gets access to more energy, it also gains the ability to destroy itself. Humanity gained this ability when it hit around 0.6 on the Kardashev scale. So maybe the further a civilization advances on the scale, the more likely they will destroy themselves. Maybe advanced civilizations need to learn to rein in their expansionist instincts to survive. Maybe that includes our advanced civilization. But look, energy usage, importantly, is just one way to measure a civilization's progress, and it doesn't capture everything. Over the decades, scientists have proposed a number of alternatives to the Kardashev scale to capture other forms of progress. Like perhaps some alien cultures out there have opted to live in harmony with their environment rather than strive for ever-increasing consumption. A 2020 study proposed that we focus on the relationship between the civilization and the environment around it. This scale, which uses classes instead of types, starts with a civilization using the environment as is, as we observe animals doing, for example. That's class 0. Then at class 1, a civilization progresses to manipulate the environment around them, like how humans do now. At class 2, beings change themselves to fit their environment, using tools such as genetic modification. And finally, at class 3, the researchers envision a civilization fully integrating itself with the environment, merging its technology with living things, and maybe even creating new thinking creatures from scratch. Another proposed scale classifies a civilization based on the scale of disaster you would need to totally wipe it out, from a local spot on a single planet, like a city-state, to an entire galaxy, in which case your civilization would be essentially immortal, awaiting the heat death of the universe, assuming you managed to keep it as one big single civilization that whole time. which I don't know how you'd do. Humanity is currently sitting on the third level of this scale, where a global disaster like a large asteroid impact could end us. And for the final example that we have time to mention in this episode, there's the Barrow scale, which proposes that instead of thinking big to measure our progress, we should think small. This scale measures a civilization's ability to manipulate smaller and smaller objects. It begins with creatures being capable of manipulating objects on the scale of themselves, and then the scale of their genes, then molecules, then atoms, nuclei, elementary particles like quarks, and then finally the fundamental structure of space-time itself. So the Kardashev scale is just one way to describe a civilization, and despite what some tech bro might tell you, a higher number isn't necessarily better. After all, if some civilization had gone Type 3 on the Milky Way before we got here, we probably never would have happened. They probably would have wiped us out. The Kardashev scale does not take into account important aspects of civilization like social equity, environmental harmony, or disaster resilience, but it can help tell us a lot about ourselves, what we value as a civilization, and what ultra-long-term goals we want to work towards. And at the very least, it's an easy way to think about what alien civilizations might be out there that could be constructing their own scales right now, just wondering if perhaps we're out here.
Found your case.
One, 21 guns, flying on your arms, give up the folly. 121 guns, into the sky, you and I.
Hello and welcome to No Effort November, a series of videos for the month of November where
Today on ZZZ Made Easy, we're diving into the deep with Yihari. This guide will cover the basics of Yihari's main mechanics, how you can build her, and some teams you can go into. I'll cover some extra info at the end of the guide. This video is made in collaboration with Horrorverse and contains footage from the creator beta server. Sorry for the lack of sound effects, and things are subject to change. Thank you Horrorverse for another opportunity. Yihari is an S-rank Ice Rupture agent from Spook Shack. She's here to bring the pain with her awesome rocket hammer and takes HP management to the extreme. Tanking hits can be a viable option, but mess up and Yihari's not coming back from the deep. If she survives, Yihari can counter with some brutal offset combos and heal a ton of HP. Like her special ability, we're going to be fluctuating between two states and using both to our advantage. Like a good spooky story, we need to do some setup to hammer in all the details. With 2 Rupture Agents under our belts, we can tail the other class's details. Rupture Agents deal sheer damage, which ignores enemy defense. Like the others, Yihari converts 10% of her HP stat into sheer force directly, as well as 30% of her attack stat. All of Yihari's ice damage moves will be considered sheer damage. Yihari uses adrenaline instead of energy, and she recovers 2 adrenaline per second with 120 max. Unlike Monato, you can keep Yihari off field and she'll still build up to an EX special. Now, Yihari will enter battle with 60 adrenaline ready. This effect has a 3-minute cooldown for Investigation Zone mode. Yihari's core passive dictates her reckless playstyle. As her HP decreases, Yihari gets bonus damage. When she's under 50% HP, Yihari maxes out her buff for plus 100% increased damage. This is at core passive level F. Basically, Yihari wants to be under half health the entire battle. She will build HP so you have more HP to play with, but do be careful of taking too many hits. Thankfully, if Yihari heals above 50% HP, which, spoilers, she can do, then Yihari will retain the 100% bonus damage for 5 seconds thereafter. This effect gives Yihari a little bit of a cushion as her HP ping-pongs back and forth. Yihari has a few more bonuses for losing health. Her attacks will grant fewer decibels than other agents, but Yihari gains decibels as she loses HP. For every 1% max HP loss, Yihari gains 10 decibels. Being on low HP all the time isn't the end goal for Yihari. She wants to heal so you can drain more HP and thus gain more decibels. Very interesting mechanic. Besides tactical face tanking, Itari has her own way to consume HP. Hold the basic attack button and there goes the HP bar. Unlike Monato, Itari can just keep charging until she drops to 25% max HP. Itari drains HP faster the higher her HP percentage. You can see it starts to slow down the closer you get to 25%. Naturally, Itari has a few methods to recover HP. Her basic attack string consists of 3 parts, and the third basic actually heals 10% max HP. If you want to chain basic attacks, you can keep pressing the button and Itari would do an alternate first basic attack before repeating. It's not her main move, but Itari can chain into her healing third basic attack in a lot of ways. Along with consuming health, holding basic attack will increase Itari's charge attack level. The resource bar is an extra visualization of Itari's charge level. You'll mainly want to pay attention to Itari herself. As Itari charges, her hammer will flash and play a sound effect when it reaches the next level. Itari can move while charging, and she has 3 charge levels. She starts with level 1, which is represented by the first half of the bar. The first flash represents charge level 2, and that's when the bar is filling in the second half. The second flash is charge level 3, which is when the entire bar is filled. That's also when the hammer expands into its awesome rocket form. Releasing basic attack at each charge level would do a different finisher. For the level 1 charge attack, Itari does 2 spins into an overhead slam finisher. Now if you press basic attack after this, Itari will chain into her second basic and then tap again to do the healing third basic. For the level 2 charge attack, Itari does 1 spin into a slam and then she flips off the ground into another slam. Press basic attack will go directly to the healing third basic afterwards. As a bonus for making it to charge level 2, the third basic via this shortcut gets empowered with up to 30% bonus damage. The scaling is actually based on the entire charge bar, so you get 15% bonus damage at the very least. For the level 3 charge attack, Itari would do a full-on spin-to-win move for about 2 seconds. The momentum will allow her to do an entire flipping slam finisher without using the ground. Naturally, you can chain into the healing third basic after. This version will get the full 30% bonus damage. If you want to end the spin early, press basic attack at any time. This would do the finishing slam immediately. So far, we've seen how Itari drains HP to activate her core passive, and she can do her third basic attack to heal back up. That's fine, but it's a pretty slow process. With 60 Adrenaline, you can press special to do Itari's standing EX special, Frost Coil. This is technically a short range attack, and with iframes, and if it hits the enemy, Itari will heal 33% of her missing HP. Since Itari will typically be near or even under 25% max health, she can heal quite a bit with EX special. Itari has a second EX special, but it requires a prerequisite moved before it can be used. That prereq would actually be Itari's second regular special. To activate, while charging or during any spin animations of the charge basic attacks, you can press special to do Surging Cold, Crushing Pursuit. This move, which I'll just refer to as the upswing throughout this video, is arguably Itari's most important move because it's required to do her main damage attack. You could also call this an offset attack because, like in Monster Hunter Wilds, this hammer upswing acts like a parry/clash directly with the enemy. The timing on the offset is pretty generous. For the level 1 and level 2 charge attacks, you do have to press special right after starting those moves. If you're doing the level 3 charge attack spin, you can press special to upswing at any point. If you're not comfortable pressing special while holding down basic attack for charging, you can also press dodge. This is an alternate way to do the upswing, although you cannot use the dodge input during the charge attack spin moves. As a side effect of this extra input method, Itari cannot dodge out of her charge stance. She either has to release to start the attack, then dodge, or you can just do the upswing and dodge after. Generally speaking, Itari will want to get those offset attacks with the upswing because that's one way to do her second EX special, Glacial Crush. If the upswing hits an attacking enemy, this triggers Surging Cold and maxes out Itari's charge level. After this happens, you can press special or basic attack, and Itari would do Glacial Crush if you have 60 Adrenaline. After Glacial Crush, you can press basic attack and Itari would do the level 3 charge attack finisher. Press basic attack again and Itari follows up with the healing third basic attack just like before. Why go through all this trouble to do Glacial Crush over Frost Coil? It takes a bit longer, but Glacial Crush also heals 33% missing HP and basically does double the damage of Frost Coil. In addition, if done after offsetting an attack, Itari will restore 15 Adrenaline. Obviously, this sets her up to do more Glacial Crushes throughout the fight. For context, Glacial Crush does about 2/3 of the damage of Itari's ultimate. With the level 3 charge finisher plus basic attack full combo, it does more damage than the ultimate. It will take longer to do the full combo, but this is an incredibly strong setup. To further emphasize this, you can do Glacial Crush during a stun phase. Landing the upswing on a stunned enemy triggers Crushing in Pursuit and maxes out Itari's charge level. Like before, after the upswing, press special or basic attack to do Glacial Crush. Press basic attack 2 more times to do the level 3 charge attack finisher into the healing 3rd basic attack. We aren't entirely done with Glacial Crush, but I need to cover more mechanics before we can circle back around. With her unique decibel generation, Itari has a unique way to use her ultimate. After certain moves, Itari will consume 3000 decibels to trigger Aether Veil Wellspring for 30 seconds. These moves include any finisher of the 3 different charge attacks, both EX specials. Lastly, you can also use Itari's chain attack. If you're familiar with Lucia, Itari has the same Aether Veil mechanic and type. You know it's activated by the bell chime sound and ethereal effects on the edge of the screen. Also, Itari's tentacles will turn transparent. Aether Veil Wellspring is a field type buff and simply increases the team's max HP by 5%. For Rupture agents, this equates to more sheer force and thus more damage. In addition, while Aether Veil Wellspring is active, Itari's basic attack charging speed is increased and she will consume HP faster during charging. From rough testing, Itari seems to hit her level 3 charge about half a second faster. This can affect your timing. As for the fast HP draining, this is very noticeable. From full health, it takes about 5.5 seconds to drain 75% HP. With Aether Veil, it takes half that amount. While having Aether Veil active isn't a must, there is definitely a difference in gameplay. Aether Veil effects don't stack, but they do extend the timer. This means if you have Lucia, who also triggers Aether Veil Wellspring, then you pretty much have it active the entire fight. With that being said, it is only after Itari herself triggers Aether Veil can she use her actual ultimate attack for the next 30 seconds. This is a simple hammer plus tentacle slam that is fairly quick. Itari can use ultimate 1 time for each instance she triggers Aether Veil via consuming 3000 decibels. There will be a buff icon and timer for how long you have till the 30 seconds are up. Be sure to use the ultimate or you are just gonna lose it. Finally, we can talk about Itari's additional ability, which needs a stunner support agent to activate. When under 50% HP, Itari gains 30% crit damage and gets 25% damage reduction. Considering the core passive already wants Itari to stay under 50% HP, these are basically bonus effects. However, unlike the core passive, there is no 5-second grace period where these buffs stay active if you heal above. This is a detail we'll address a bit later. Moving on, while under Aether Veil Wellspring, after her level 3 charge attacks or EX Special Glacial Crush, Itari can summon Icy Tentacle once every 12 seconds. Having Aether Veil not only grants more HP, faster charging, and access to Itari's ultimate, it also gives an extra damage potential. These Icy Tentacles are actually considered EX Special attacks, and their damage multiplier is listed under Glacial Crush. They aren't an absurd amount of damage, but being counted as an EX Special mean you can use these to trigger effects such as the Yonkoi Tails Drive this set. We've covered a lot of info, so let's review. Itari wants to stay under 50% HP to get bonus damage, and she constantly drains HP while charging up her hammer. Itari can do an upswing attack while charging or spinning to offset clash with the enemy. This allows her to do her big damage EX Special, Glacial Crush. That move can heal 33% of missing HP and chains into Itari's charge attack finishers plus 3rd basic attack, which also heals her. Draining HP gives Itari decibels, and she deploys Aether Veil after certain moves when she hits 3000 decibels. Itari has 30 seconds to then use her actual ultimate, and during Aether Veil, Itari will also summon tentacles for extra damage. Some people might not be super comfortable with Itari's low HP playstyle, even with her 25% damage reduction. This isn't her only percent damage reduction source though. Under her basic attacks, Itari has Frost's Crushing Weight. This effect states while charging or spinning during her charge attacks, Itari will block with her tentacles, reducing damage by 25%. From my testing, this damage reduction is additive with the additional ability, meaning Itari gets 50% DR if charging or spinning on low health. She isn't invincible, but this is actually a very strong ability, and it has a few more perks. If she is in the middle of charging or not at full charge, Itari's tentacles will dish out a small counterattack. In addition, Itari will return to the charging stance and instantly gain 1 charge level. After you trigger Frost, Itari can press basic attack to immediately follow up with the finisher of the current charge level. If you press special, Itari will instead do a guaranteed Surging Cold upswing. To showcase, if Itari gets hit while in charge level 1, she jumps to charge level 2 and pressing basic attack does the level 2 finisher. If she gets hit during charge level 2, she'll jump to level 3 and do the level 3 finisher where skipping the spin move entirely. Instead of just doing the finishers, Itari can also instead press special to do an upswing. This upswing will always trigger Surging Cold, meaning you can go into EX Special Glacial Crush right after. Since you do not need to score an offset with this method, and Idari gains decibels for losing HP, this is actually a viable tactic to do Glacial Crush instead of going for the offset timing. With the 50% damage reduction and Glacial Crush healing after, this does give Idari some room to make mistakes. So far I only showcased Frost's crushing weight while charging, but you should know how it works with Idari's spin moves. If you start the level 1 charge attack, Idari does 2 spins. If she gets hit during these spins, Frost activates, returning her to the charging stance and bumps her up to charge level 2. While you can do the level 2 finisher, instead you can press special to do a Surging Cold upswing. Surging Cold bumps Idari to max charge level, so now you can do the level 3 finisher after this ends. Of course, this only applies if you don't have 60 adrenaline, otherwise you're going to do Glacial Crush instead. For the level 3 charge attack, Idari doesn't return to charging if hit during the 2-second spin to win portion. You do, however, get the guaranteed Surging Cold upswing. Again, this allows Idari to get the Glacial Crush without offsetting an attack. Frost's crushing weight is essentially allowing you to sacrifice HP instead of getting the offset timing. You don't have to use it, but it's a great quality of life for players who aren't playing perfect all the time. The only issue is if enemies deal too much damage. 50% damage reduction is fantastic, but it's not damage nullification like if you do score those offset timings. With Idari's mechanics covered, let's go over some tips for battle. First off, there's no rules saying we can't, so might as well drain most of Idari's HP before the fight begins. You can set up with your supports, then Idari comes back in with all her damage buffs. She already has 60 adrenaline, so time to hunt for those offsets into Glacial Crush. Thanks to Frost, you can still trigger Glacial Crush if Idari gets hit while charging. As long as she survives, you can press special to do the Surging Cold upswing into Glacial Crush.
Come on.
Idari has a couple options.
Give me crit damage. Oh. Okay.
Depending on the enemy attack patterns. If you hit max charge and you know an attack is coming very soon, you can release to start the level 3 spin. You might as well deal some damage, then time the upswing as the enemy attacks. If the enemy isn't attacking soon, you can also just do the level 2 or level 3 finishers into third basic attack. Idari can heal some HP, which can then drain for more decibels. While going for offsets is fun, Idari also has a ton of iframes. The level 2 and level 3 charge attack finishers have iframes, and even the third basic attack has iframes while Idari is airborne. She doesn't have full coverage in between these moves, but I found Idari is usually fine to commit to the full combo. She doesn't seem to stagger much in the transition. As you get closer to a stun phase, instead of going for charge attacks and offsets, you may want to dodge counter and basic attack instead. Idari's dodge counter is a simple hammer swipe, and it can chain into the third basic attack after. The main reason for this shift is that Idari wants to save adrenaline to do Glacial Crush during the stun phase. The dodge counter and basic attack combo also do not trigger Idari's Ether Veil. If Idari consumes her decibels, she will start that 30-second timer on how long you can use her ultimate. If you trigger it too early, you might have to ult outside the stun phase. As a counterpoint, one benefit of this ability is that Idari can work toward the next 3000 decibels as you pocket the ult for 30 seconds. Like her HP management, there's a little bit of a risk and reward going on here. If you swap off Idari to say your stunner, then you can trigger the Ether Veil off a chain.
Fine and all. Oh yeah. Ooh, Skurk. Okay. Thank you. One more thing. Let's go there. Start with this. I still have no clue how to play with teammates.
Attack. While Idari's chain attack is pretty standard, it does get a little stronger if Ether Veil is active. She summons some extra tentacle attacks separate from the additional ability. Idari's stun phase combos can vary quite a bit, so feel free to experiment. I'm going to be focusing on a few combos I like to use to help get you started. For a very basic stun phase combo, after chain attacking, use Idari's ultimate. As this is happening, you can hold basic attack to start charging as soon as possible. Right as you see Idari start charging, press special to do the upswing. This will trigger Crushing Pursuit, and you can press special again to do Glacial Crush. Follow up with the full combo using the level 3 finisher into third basic attack. If you have time, you can do 2 Glacial Crushes. After the first Glacial Crush, instead of doing the full combo, you can start charging, do the upswing, and then the second Glacial Crush after. Of course, you can mix things up here. Instead of the full combo after the first Glacial Crush, you can just do the level 3 finisher itself. This can be nice if you need a little extra adrenaline to do the second Glacial Crush. You can also incorporate 1 Glacial Crush before the stun phase starts, or during a double chain attack. For the double chain attack method, the upswing does not count as a heavy attack. The big slam of Glacial Crush will though, so be sure to swap out, wait for Yidhari to land, then start the second chain attack. The benefits of this method is that Yidhari will guarantee have 3 stacks of Yonkou Tails before doing her ultimate and then the second Glacial Crush. The downside is that Yidhari will heal. While Yidhari's core passive has that 5-second grace period for healing above 50% HP, her additional ability does not have this quality of life. To add to this, Yidhari's signature W engine has a crit rate bonus for being under 50% health, that too deactivates if you heal above half health at any time. For double Glacial Crush combos, you can hold charge for longer to drain HP until Yidhari is back to under half health. Looking at the previous example, this is why I have a hold basic attack input after the double chain attacks. If you were to use Glacial Crush in between, Yidhari might deactivate her other bonuses. This is something to keep in mind to maximize damage. For builds, Yidhari wants the standard damage dealer crit stats, and as a Rupture Agent, she wants to focus on HP over attack. More HP also gives her more leeway when taking hits. Yidhari's signature W engine is Kraken's Cradle. It has a 30% HP main stat, and when Yidhari's HP decreases, she gains 6% Ice Shear damage, stacking up to 3 times for 25 seconds. These stacks are calculated separately, and you can gain/refresh a stack once every 0.5 seconds. If Yidhari is under half health, at any point, she also gains 20% crit rate. Ice Shear damage is a different multiplier from the general percent damage bonus of the core passive. Yidhari is always losing HP, so this is a very easy effect to keep active. While Yidhari generally is under half health, we just talked about some issues with healing. Be sure to drain HP before you do any of her big damage moves, that way you get that 20% crit rate. For other S-rank options, you can use each one's signature, which has a HP percent main stat with an always active 20% crit. You could also use attacker crit rate W engines as well. For A-rank options, Monato's Gorilla Wisp also grants percent HP and crit rate. The crit buff requires losing HP, but only lasts for 5 seconds, so it's a little tougher to use. The Battle Pass Raider Wave Journey has a percent HP main stat and grants Sheer Force during chain attacks and ults. Not bad for Yidhari's pretty solid burst combos, but you do need to do double chain attacks to get the full buff. For the craftables, Puzzle Sphere is not bad despite the percent attack main stat. On EX Special, it grants crit damage, and against low HP foes, you buff EX Special damage. We want to do Glacial Crush often, so pretty decent option. Now, if you don't want to use any of these, there is a B-rank Gotcha Upgrade W engine I forgot about. Cinder Cobalt can grant more Sheer Force than Puzzle Sphere, but not by much, and you don't get any crit damage or EX Special buffs. For Drive This, Yidhari will follow the typical damage dealer main stats. She gains crit rate from her core passive level ups and potentially her W engine, so you can do crit damage for Petition 4. This will require some crit rate substat farming though. For Petition 5, Yidhari gets a massive 100% bonus damage from the core passive, but ice damage is fine to take if you're going with a Sheer Force buffer. You can also do percent HP if you got great substats and more percent damage buffers. Petition 6 should always be percent HP for more Sheer Force conversion. For sets, Yidhari can utilize Yonkou Tails, 10% HP, and on EX Special, Chain Attack and Ultimate, you gain 4% crit rate for 15 seconds. This can stack 3 times, and you can get 10% sheer damage as a bonus. Yidhari's additional ability Tentacles do count as 1 EX Special cast, but you need Ether Veil active. You might not always have it up without certain teammates. Luckily, Yidhari generates a lot of adrenaline, so she can cast EX Special a lot more often than, say, Monato. She'll also get max stacks for most of the stun phase, which is great. For 2-piece sets, if you need more crit rate, you can go with Woodpecker Electro. If not, you can go with Brancher Bladesong for more crit damage. If you got great substats, you can also just use 2-piece Polar Metal. For teams, Yidhari is incentivized to stay on field to score offsets into Glacial Crushes that refund adrenaline and heal. She can also use Glacial Crush during stun phases though. With that in mind, the standard Rupture team with a stunner plus support buffer will be great. You can also double up if you want. Yidhari's best teammate will probably be Lucia for the foreseeable future. Not only is she the S-rank Sheer Force buffer, but Lucia can keep Ether Veil active the entire fight, which means more tentacle slams and faster charging. As an ice agent, we can also break out good old Lycaon for ice weak enemies. Lycaon increases the stun damage multiplier and provides Ice Red Shred. Yidhari can fight on field just fine, but if you want to save adrenaline and decibels, then Lycaon can take over as the on-field stunner. For other teams, the Yonkou duo of Paninhu and Jufufu will work just fine. Paninhu is a simple A rank sheer force buffer, and Jufufu can bring more decibel altering options, crit damage buffs, and she's an off-field stunner. For other off-field stunners, you can get Trigger and Pulchra. Pulchra and Paninhu will actually be the right up A ranks on Yutari's banner, so they can be these stand-ins if you don't have anyone else. If you don't want to use stunners, you can use Lucia and Paninhu. Attack buffers like Astra can work too, but their buffs are just less effective. Yutari is just fine duking it out with her offsets and healing, but I personally do think she does want a stunner for the nasty burst potential. Speaking of stunners, you can use Koleda and her bonus chain attack damage. Since Yutari can save resources for the stun phase, you could also try Qingyi. She has a larger stun damage multiplier than Trigger or Lycon, but you need to build up and land her empowered basic attacks, which do require some fill time. Feel free to mix and match any of these stunners or supports. Currently not available, but in version 2.4, Dial-In will be a new stun agent. Maybe keep an eye out for her as well. Yutari's not a fire agent like Monato, but Lighter's such a cool guy, he buffs ice damage too. The main issue with Lighter teams is finding a third ally to activate his additional ability. You can use Orphe for off-field damage, and for funsies, I did try Hugo to end the stun phase early. That was an interesting team, but I can't say it was the most effective. Instead of a second DPS, you can use Caesar or Lucy despite their attack buffs being less effective. I did try double stunners more with Lighter plus Pulchra and found that to be working decently well. There are some slight issues with Lighter for these new Rupture agents, but hey, if you want to use him, there are ways to make it work. Next up, I want to go over Yutari's Mindscapes. For Mindscape 1, Yutari's EX Special Adrenaline cost is reduced by 10. After any EX Special, you can keep holding Basic Attack or Special to consume 35 Adrenaline to skip the healing and immediately chain into another Glacial Crush. This Glacial Crush will heal for double the amount. Yutari's Basic Attacks and EX Specials will then ignore 20% Ice Resistance. M1 drops Yutari's EX Special cost down to 50 and gives her Ice Red Shred. She also gets a new gameplay feature where you can chain double EX Specials for 85 Adrenaline total. This is great for stun phases, and the reason Yutari skips the healing on the first EX Special is to keep those under 50% HP effects active. Do not worry, she will heal at the very end. For M2, Yutari gains 40% crit damage. After triggering Surgeon Cold or Crushing Pursuit, Yutari gets Adrenaline regen of 0.5 per second for 30 seconds. Repeated triggers reset the duration. More crit damage and extra Adrenaline regen to go with the lower EX Special cost from M1 means even more Glacial Crush spam. For Mindscape 4, Yutari gains 10% more decibels from her HP draining core passive, while in Aether Veil Wellspring she also gets another 5% max HP. More decibels means more Aether Veil uptime, and Yutari should now get 10% max HP from Aether Veil Wellspring bonuses. For M6, after she spends decibels to trigger or extend Aether Veil, Yutari gains Erudition for 30 seconds. With this status, Yutari gains 25% sheer damage, and she can take a fatal hit with 1 HP. For the next 5 seconds, she cannot die and will heal 25% HP over time. M6 adds a big sheer damage multiplier during ultimate windows, and Yutari can ignore death to crank out as much damage as possible. I'm not entirely sure, but it sounds like this miracle effect can be activated every time you get Erudition. That's pretty crazy. If you want to invest in Yutari, her signature offers a rare sheer damage bonus plus juicy crit rate for easier building. Her Mindscape 1 is pretty tempting though, since it opens up a new burst damage combo with the double Glacial Crushes. The lower Adrenaline cost plus Ice Red Shred is really solid too, and if you go with M2, then you get even more Adrenaline to play around with. For the after party section, let's cover more moves that we didn't talk about, plus extra info I want to share. Yutari's dash attack is a simple 1-2, it chains into her second basic, but you don't really use it since you can move while charging. Maybe a use case if you don't want to trigger Aether Veil. Yutari's quick assist uses the same animation as her dodge counter. It does less damage, but still chains into the healing third basic after. Yutari's first regular special is a simple uppercut swipe. The more useful upswing we've been talking about is actually her second regular special. Frost Coil's ranged portion is not a heavy attack, you must actually connect with it to trigger stuns. Frost Coil will also chain directly into the third basic attack. If you don't want to commit to Glacial Crush, you can wait till the hammer uncharges before attacking, or you can just dodge to get out of the animation. Another option is to swap agents. The offset does have great stagger capabilities, so an ally could maybe get a few attacks off. Speaking of swapping, Yutari's defensive assist plus follow-up is nothing special. She will consume 2 assist points if you parry big boss attacks. The assist follow-up will chain into the third basic attack. If you were to instead hold basic attack, Yutari will actually instead go straight to charging. If you swap agents while charging, Hihari would do her charged finisher of whatever level you're at. These finishers have iframes, but she can get hit at the end, so be careful of abusing this. For an alternate double chain attack method, you can use a charged finisher instead of going for a Glacial Crush. Against aggressive foes, you can swap out via Perfect Assist. The level 2 and level 3 charged finishers deal more damage than the dodge counter, so technically this is better than trying to pull off the harder assist counterattack. Versus groups of mobs, Hihari's level 3 charge attack actually pulls them in like a whirlpool. You can even steer them toward an edge for more control. Last tip, the benefits of Frost's Crushing Weight are only active for a short duration if you want to chain into the finisher or Surging Cold upswing. After you trigger it, the next time Hihari's hammer flashes, that's when the window is over. If you take too long, you're just going to do a charge attack or the regular upswing with no Surging Cold effect. In conclusion, Hihari is a very interesting agent. She seems to have a high-risk, high-reward type playstyle with her HP management, but there's quite a lot of forgiveness baked into her kit as well. Frost's Crushing Weight and the 50% damage reduction do a lot of heavy lifting if you're not a pro at timing the upswing. Hihari also gets a lot of adrenaline to keep doing Glacial Crush and thus keep healing. For regular endgame modes, I feel Hihari is just fine and can even abuse face tanking to generate more decibels on purpose. For special modes where enemies might be doing 7, 8, or over 9,000 damage per hit, then that's where things can get dicey. In those situations, you may not be able to rely on the damage reduction. You're gonna have to score those offset timings. That's all I have to say about Hihari. Thank you for watching, have fun bashing some heads in, and I will see you in the next video.
I feel so at home as a Monster Heart Hammer main.
When this animator got hired by Disney, no one expected him to do this. He surprised
Fucking short.
Agile shooting while leaving yourself with the option to switch through a range of different backups as the occasion called for it. And while the particular backup weapon chosen could vary a lot, from sword and shield through a two-handed sword to a katana and a tanto or even a two-handed maul hammer, the fact remains that the fantasy archetype of only carrying lightweight backup weapons doesn't apply to real-world historical battlefield archery. And with that in mind, let's have a look at our next historical archer, the English longbowman. This is perhaps the most archetypal medieval European archer in existence, and it is the basis of a lot of the depictions of the kind of mook archers that come in vast numbers and plow barrages of arrows into their enemies. But there are a few ways that this particular historical build of archer varied from the fantasy archetype, and the biggest one is strength. The standard fantasy bow is a dexterity or agility based weapon that is used with speed and coordination to launch arrows at your enemy. But that's not strictly true in history. Many historical bows, in fact the majority of historical bows used in war, require a reasonably significant amount of strength to draw back. This particular bow is on the lighter end of European war bows at about 87 pounds or approximately 40 kilos at full draw, which means that every single arrow shot is the equivalent of that amount of weight. And you can see how quickly that has an effect on the target. But it also has an impact on the archer. Drawing that amount of weight back repeatedly over a prolonged period of time requires a decent amount of strength. And as Armor of the Time improved, the weight of the bows that was needed to counter it also increased, meaning that the kind of archers that were drawing longbows in the late medieval period could be pulling up to 2.5 times this draw weight. These were not weedy stick figures using dexterity as their primary stat. These were strong and powerful warriors. And as a result, their choice of backup often utilized that. One of the standard backup weapons of choice for a medieval archer would be a sword and shield.
Shots, you know. Ridiculously cool. 87 pound. Alan Wake, Rose Game Dungeon. I guess that's what I'm gonna watch as I go to sleep. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Alright, that's going to be it for the stream. Good luck, fun, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.